Hello, everyone, and welcome to another survival game guide episode in our Medieval Dynasty series. Depending on how long you have been, in your little town and uh, building stuff and producing stuff and selling stuff, you may have noticed as time goes on that a new type of NPC shows up called the Herald, the King's Herald to be particular. And you might wonder, who that person is, what they want, and perhaps some of the benefits of helping them out. That is what today's video is all about. It's about the King's Herald. So let's kind of just get right into it. So who is the Herald? Essentially, it's this guy right over here, our friend here, in his lovely two-toned outfit here. This is the King's Herald. And essentially, he is a representative of the king. He shows up every few seasons. Like, not every year he's going to show up. So he's kind of like a special NPC who shows up now and then, essentially. And his purpose is to give you challenges, essentially, that the king kind of like sets out. Like, there's something happening in the kingdom, and all of his little peoples have to help him out, essentially. If you're able to complete the challenge, you get quite a few rewards, which we'll get into in a little bit here. But that's essentially who the Herald is. He's just the representative of the king. The king's too busy to actually come down here, because that's just him. With that in mind, you might have a few questions about, kind of like where to find him, essentially. And he doesn't show up like in the same place all the time. Today he is in Hornica. That's where he's shown up, and you can usually tell because you can't really see it very well. We'll look over here. This is his little symbol. When he shows up in a tavern, you'll see this little like horn here, and that basically symbolizes, hey, the Herald is here. He goes in any kind of tavern, including the one that you build. If you get to the tavern part and you unlock that and you build it, there's a chance that he'll show up in your tavern too, which I have to say is like super nice. For me, he always ends up being like either in Hornica or Jezerica. Very rarely does he spawn for me in Gostovia, which is unfortunate because I'm like over here. So that's a little bit more convenient for me. For like the past as long as I've played this game, he for whatever reason seems to love showing up in Hornica. Okay, I don't want that there. That's just my luck. But he can show up in any kind of tavern, including your own. So could be helpful for that. So what does he want, right? What is this Herald all about? What is he doing? He has several different challenges that he can offer you. If we talk to him right now, we can kind of see, what he wants for us. His name is Simoit. Great name. We can actually ask him some stuff about the king, too. Like, how old is the king? He's 35. Great. And he can also ask him about the opinion that the king has of you. And that comes, that's rather important because, your relationship with the king determines your tax rate, essentially. So the more that the king likes you, the lower your taxes are, which is super helpful, let me tell you. But I have not done anything for the king yet, so he doesn't even know that I exist, essentially. But let's see what he wants, which is, the quest here. So we'll see what he wants. King will be hosting a big wedding ceremony. Oh, that's great. Okay. Oh, he wants money. That's awkward, but okay. Provided. Yep. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So for us, he wants us to get coin, and we can see what the coin is. A golden wedding. And you can see as well that you have like a few seasons before it expires, which is super helpful because I have to have that much coin. And as you can see, I don't have that available just yet because I'm just a poor farmer. You do have like a few seasons that you can that you have till you complete it. I don't know if it's always 5. Sometimes it might be shorter time. Sometimes it might be a longer time. I'm not 100% sure on that. But keep that number in mind so that you don't run out of time in case it takes you a while to complete, essentially. This isn't the only quest that he'll give. Sometimes he asks for like resources or like food or something, and you have to do that, whatever it is that he's asking. Essentially, that's what you do. Once you have what you need, you might wonder, how do I give this to the guy? And there's like actually quite a few ways. You can depending on like what it is, you can run back to him and be like, hey, I have this stuff, and he'll be like, awesome, I'm gonna go give it to the king now. If it's like resources, like let's say he wants like 200 some logs from you, because there's like something very similar to that. I highly doubt you want to come all the way, over here with 200 logs. That's gonna take a long time. That's gonna take like 5 seasons in itself. Not really, but Instead, you can just leave it in your storage, and then you can come up here and be like, hey, it's all in my storage, go ahead and grab it, and like it'll just subtract from your storage essentially, and the quest will complete itself. Finally, you can also ask your wife to take care of that for you. Once you have like stuff in your storage or your coin or whatever, you can, if your wife is affectionate enough, like if she's still in love with you, essentially, you can ask for her to go take care of that and visit the Herald and then turn it all in, and she'll do that for you. But again, only if she is, feeling the love from you. You might have to go, warm her up a little bit, get her a nice gift or something, and then maybe she'll take care of that for you. Those are the 3 different ways to essentially turn in your quest to the Herald. And so the kind of final question that we have here is like, why should you deal with the Herald and take on his challenges and complete them and whatnot. And honestly, the stuff that you get for it is pretty great. If you kind of go back to here, you can see the reward here is that we get 450 Dynasty reputation, which is fantastic. That's a big chunk of reputation. And if you haven't really dabbled too much into the reputation yet, or like why it's important to gather this, I mean, there's a few reasons why you need, reputation. For one, it indicates, how many people you can invite to your village. If you don't have enough reputation, some people might be like, yeah, I don't really want to join your village, thanks. And that's like not good if you really need somebody to join your village, like you need, a farmer or something. So that's like, that's like a big part of it. But also it can also lose the game if you don't have enough reputation. Like if your reputation falls, I think it's below -10 or something like that. You'll actually get exiled from this place, and you essentially lose the game. So it's a good idea to accumulate your reputation as much as you can, and completing the challenges is a good way to do that. Now that said, if you take the challenge on but you don't complete it, you can also lose a good chunk of reputation as well, which is not great because that could push you into exile and you lose the game. Terrible. Another reason to complete the challenges is that it improves your relationship with the king. As you saw earlier, the king is very neutral about us. He doesn't have any opinion for us because he doesn't know who we are. But if we complete challenges for him, our reputation with the king, our relationship with the king will increase, and kind of depending on like the king that you have, that usually it means your taxes will decrease. But it also might mean like the villagers' moods in your village that might like decrease or increase depending on the king and whether you completed the challenge or not. So it has an impact on your village, but also on your taxes that you have to pay each year, which could be that could save you a good chunk of money if you're really industrialized at this point. So, but that is the Herald. He looks a little drunk. He looks really unfortunate, to be honest, poor guy. If he shows up, and if you think that you're in a place where you can potentially take care of whatever challenge that he has, I say go for it because the rewards that you get are pretty great. Both short term and long term. But it might not be something to do the first time he shows up, just because So if you do get hit with something like I need like a bajillion of this, and you just don't have like that production work station or whatever built yet, you're gonna be hurting. You're gonna have to like buy that from somebody else just to complete it, which means you might be in the red, right, with your taxes and all that. So it's a strategic decision that you have to make if you think that you're ready to accept the king's challenge, essentially. But that is essentially the video on our guide, I suppose, on the Herald here. If you do have any questions about the Herald, do ask. I'll be sure to answer in the comments. If you have any other kind of like tips on how to complete his challenges, by all means, put that in the comments too, because I certainly would like to know. But otherwise, oh, look at that, the lights, ambiance. But I guess so. If you have any tales too, share those as well. But thanks so much for watching. Until next time, keep surviving and keep thriving.